got more bounce in California than all y'all combined. We got more bounce in California. Well, guys, we've got one damn ass right, fine, good, clean E46 M3. Look at this thing glowing in here. So obviously it went to Elite Finish and got the full treatment down there about 10 days ago, and then it came back up here and had to drive up here, and then it had to go get its tires rebalanced, and then it had to sit outside for an hour or two while the shop was full of other cars, and it got a little dusty, a little dirty. That is no more. It is detailed inside and out, which is pretty easy to do, though still time consuming on a car that's recently come back from Elite Finish. I did the tire shine, took the floor mats out, did all that. The leather specialist was here today and spent about 3 hours on the interior, touching up anything and everything that could be found. There was a scratch in this armrest. You'd never know it was there. There's a mark in this seat bolster, same deal. I don't know how that guy's so good, and how you can take plastics, vinyls, and leathers, and things that have a physical damage to them, and then totally restore them with this little brush and a heater and these little pens, and it's crazy, crazy stuff. These plastic trims here around the speakers had large wear areas right here on top. The customer indicated to me that he wanted to replace those, so I did the research. They're only sold on the door panel. Door panels are thousands, and most likely in LA, though he decided not to even attempt ordering based on the price. He comes in here in like 30 minutes. They look flawless. Put the new shift knob in today, got that plugged in. I was driving home last night and that was not lit up, and I thought, oh, it must be an M5 thing. No, it's an M3 thing. I just failed to plug it in because I knew that I was going to be replacing that a day or two before he comes and picks it up. I just cleaned the inside of the windshield, which was really hazy. I did not realize how bad that was until I got it halfway done. I should have done a before shot. It was pretty bad. Took some back to black on this little plastic piece here. It's not gray anymore, it's black. Same thing with this rubber strip here. That's darkened up quite a bit with just one application. My back is killing me from being on my hands and knees. Mike did the exhaust here. A nice job on the inside of the tips. But this thing is done, is ready to go. Just put it through the PDI pre-delivery inspection. It will be picked up on Friday afternoon. But tomorrow we've got to do the Z8 inspection. That didn't happen today due to other projects going on. Bank 1 valve covers off on the 02 Sterling, which I erroneously called an 01 the other day. I found out while editing. It is indeed an 02. So bank 1 came off to put that head at top dead center, remove the Vanos adjustment unit, which is now over here, and the O-rings that were on there here were completely flat. So that's the source of our leak. We've got nice fresh O-rings on there now that do protrude from the race in which they sit. That was cleaned out with some gasoline, so we're letting all of that evaporate overnight. That'll go in tomorrow with a new O-ring here, and obviously the gasket here for the Vanos, and then all of this stuff gets to go back together. I had quoted removing the cylinder bank 2 valve cover as well. I didn't know how sensitive this was going to be to timing, and thankfully we didn't have to do that, and we did these valve cover gaskets just a few thousand miles ago, so he was very happy to hear today that bank 2 can stay in place. There's no signs of it leaking. We'll save a few hours labor. While I'm looking at this M3, I got another thing to say here. So the mirrors get real loose on these things. Quality control issue for a 3 Series kind of. I don't know why they don't fold. That would have been a nice touch. They're also not heated. What the hell? Anyways, they get loose and you can grab the end of them and the whole thing pivots like that. Where you pop off the little triangle inside, take the mirror off, 3 Torx. Then there's another Torx or 2 that hold the mirror to the base plate, and those things get loose by an eighth of a turn. It's almost nothing. Tighten it up, no more wobble. Another thing I figured out today is that heinous beep that this thing makes. Whenever the key's in the ignition, you open the door, it goes beep, beep, beep. It's awful, ear-piercingly annoying beeping sound. So I know that that's possible to turn off. I did it on my 02 330xi E46 back in Ohio. So I couldn't figure it out. Anytime I try to like use NCS and select the KMB and then hit enter, it gives me coding is faulty errors, and I can't find the KMB in the module tree to go in there and pull the file out of it. So I did some research online and found out that 02 and later, so LCI E46 models, this is an 04, they call it an AKMB E46 M3 or M3 or something like that. It's different for the M3 and the LCI. So once you select that, which is at the top of the tree instead of at the bottom, then you're able to go in, download the file, search for key, find the one that says key and ignition warning, just set it to NICT active or not active, and write the file, and the beep is gone, which I'm so happy about. The owner won't even know how happy he is because he won't have to hear it. There was also an option in there to use the gong speaker instead of the buzzer. I don't believe the E46 has a gong speaker. I didn't try that. It'd be interesting to set it to gong. That might have the same effect, because now it's trying to send that audio to a output device that doesn't exist. But, well, I know how to do that now. Coding's about to get even more fun. This silver wagon out here, yes, the Z8's coming in a moment. Silver wagon out here is a 540 wagon 6-speed that has obviously been built, seeing that that wasn't available from factory. And they had all the coding right, and they had it running from the shop that did it on the East Coast. And then the car came here, and pixels were bad on the cluster. So they changed the cluster for some reason instead of just fixing it. And by changing it, then they couldn't get the coding right, and they had a tamper dot, so they took the car to the dealership. Dealership went through, updated the DME, recoded all the modules, recoded everything per the VIN, so now it doesn't start or run because it thinks it's an automatic again. So we took the DME out, took it over to my sublet, had them reprogram it in the manual firmware, which still doesn't start because I believe the ZCS coding on the EWS is bad. So, shit, I hate ZCS stuff. I had a guy a couple months ago who's extremely helpful on my 540, which is out front, coming home with me tonight. When I added PDC and I couldn't see the module, we had to add that to the work order, ZCS work order, whatever the proper terminology is. This is going to be different. I have to tell the EWS that it's in a manual 540 instead of an automatic, so that's going to take a bunch of research and time to figure that out. Well, we're out here. This 03 540 has a blown engine. I've been working with the owner to figure out what he wants to do. It sounds like he's found a good M62 and wants to buy that, send it to us, have us do chains guides, reseal the whole thing and put it in. Well, we'll see if that happens or not. We've got Johnny's car here tomorrow. I'm going to wire up the blue bus directly to the amp using the TCU ports. I don't know. I have to go read Ted's note on that again, but it should make the audio and calling sound better because this is an older car. It's a DB25 instead of the SES 54 pin or 32 or whatever the hell all these numbers run together. Black Betty is forever pending. This guy owes me money, and this gets an MPI tomorrow. This one sounds like it's about to get chains and guides. I'm waiting to hear from the customer. He's already approved it, but I'm collecting a parts deposit before I order anything, which hopefully will be tomorrow. This is a super clean 02 540IA. I think it's an 02, maybe an 01. Really clean. Silver on gray car, style 66s. That tells me it's an 01, I think, but no, those were dealer optioned wheels. I don't know. God, there's just too much to learn with all these things. Let's get a little startup pull-in clip here on the Z8, 2001 in titanium silver. I haven't filmed much with this car. Work scope starts tomorrow with the inspection and then onto the exhaust work. Quirky startup procedure in here. Really, this whole thing is quirky. They went for simplistic. Normal enough though, you press the clutch, you verify neutral, then you turn the key, and then you have to press and hold the button. Pressing it just turns the starter over once, not enough to start the car. So press and hold, you get a nice startup. Weird gauges. Looks to me like a 540 gauge with an 8 grand tack and a clock in it until you turn them on. Then they look freaking awesome because all the lighting comes from the center pin and works its way out. They are not backlit. Parking brake goes off. The warning for that is right at 5,000 in the tack. Bizarre. The fuel logo in the center of the fuel gauge illuminates yellow when you're low on gas, which we're about to be. The sport button is very much a Mini Cooper looking button in my opinion. It's just a kind of a gray plastic round button. But from now, it really feels like an E39 M5. Throttle, clutch, brakes are a little better, steering's a little better. It's a rack, not a box. But it sure sounds like one. Hearing this thing move around the shop, it's like, oh, what M5's coming in now? Nope, that's a Z8. Pretty freaking cool. Very long hood. You look out over the whole thing. Would have been nice. I think the Alpina version should have been a V12, and the regular version should have been this V8. But obviously BMW disagreed. That sounds like a 5 Series. Light switch is here. There are fog lights, but only rear. I gotta remember where that button is. That's right, it's way over here. And when you turn that on, let's see, we have to have this. Actually, we may have to have all the headlights on for the fogs to work. You do, that's weird. And the warning is here, or the indicator is here. And notice it's yellow. It's rear fogs. and it's only the left one. So this car either has a bulb out or they went Mercedes and decided one fog light was enough. Turn the thing off, the engine start-stop button does nothing, so you turn the key. And don't forget to turn off the lights, because if you do, you get that. It's a pet peeve of me to not have a way to get into the trunk when you are back here at the rear of the car. And unfortunately, the Z8 is one of those. Would have been cool if they did something here and hit a button, more realistically put a popper down here, but they did no such thing. Let's verify that before I post this on the internet. Nope, just license plate lights. So to get into the trunk, you do need the key or to enter the cabin. Something silly, something small that's easily overlooked on this car. But it would have been nice if you could just pop it right here. I noticed today that the rear tow hook cover, or at least I assume that's what it is very tastefully hidden within the right little reflector light here. So there's a tab on that. Let's see if I can not break a $2,000 part. Oh, it's on a tether. Yeah, look at that. It stays on a tether, comes right out, and that's where you thread your tow hook thing. As you'd expect, the left side is normal. Sterling got its new dead pedal today. Pulled the old one out. Boy, is that a pain in the ass, but it helps with the Euro dashes. You don't have to bend it as much. That's the new one, which BMW's decided to put the sticker just right on top of the freaking finish. So you got to get the Goo Gone in there and spend a bunch of time scraping that off. But I did go for a short test drive right after I put it in, about 3-4 miles, and I did not hear that noise. I'll report back tonight. Great success. So we're in one ride home, and none of that noise with the new dead pedal, which is great. Honestly, driving this back to the M3, I vastly prefer the 540 somehow. The M3 is a significantly better, more valuable, more collectible car, but something about the 540 to me is usable, comfortable, quiet, refined, well-made, torquey, just for the way that I use a car and use a car during the week, just a better solution. Nice, quiet ride, cruise at 82, just perfect. So the only noise I'm hearing now is a very slight kind of rubbery noise, I'm assuming from these gaskets around the door. And I have this product I bought months ago in this, it looks like deodorant. You unscrew the cap and it's a little ball or a brush or something. You're supposed to rub it on the rubber to lubricate it. And I've never used it, so I might give it a shot, see how things work. Anyways, it's just me in the house, which means big band, pizza, and videos about Rolls-Royce Merlin V12s and the P51 Mustang. Just talked to Larissa a little bit. It's after 11, I think. Time for bed for me. Tomorrow's Thursday already. I'll talk to you guys then. Good night.